Alright guys, I know you see enough Target videos, but stands or whatever, but this is an inexpensive way, and you need no nuts, bolts, welding, no nothing. I did this one last year, I think it was. I believe it was last year. Anyway, I went to the big box. I went to Home Depot. I bought a couple pieces of pipe, just galvanized piping. I had them cut it to the dimensions I wanted, and I had them thread it. Didn't cost me any more. I bought a couple of nipples, as you can see. Alright. And if I remember right, these I just epoxied in. So those aren't even really welded or anything. Those are just epoxied in there. And that's it. And if I wanted to do anything, I'll hang a target off it with a bungee cord if it's a metal target, you know, or if it's paper. You know, at that point I'll just use a little paracord or a couple of clamps, piece of cake for paper. Most of the time though, if I'm going to use a stand like this or the other one that I just made, I usually put steel on it. Because it's usually out there where I want to be able to hear it and I don't have to keep looking through a spot scope or a scope on a rifle. A lot of times I have the scopes on the rifles, but sometimes I just like to take them off and use the iron sights. You know, you got to be used to the iron sights because the scope may crap out on you someday. So, but anyway, that's basically what it is. Now to take it apart or put it together, there's one thing you have to remember. You can take it apart completely and screw it back together each and every time. That's totally up to you. However, I only take the center bar out. So you got to remember to make sure the threads are kept clean, because at this point, as you can see, we've got a little rust on our threads. Because this has been sitting out against the shop over there, the shack, in the elements. Now, why I say if you're going to do it, whatever way you're going to do it, if you're going to take it apart each time, completely apart, and put it inside, you don't have to worry as much. But with me, it's another story. For me to take this apart now, all I do is basically back off. Well, here, I'll do it and you'll watch it hit the floor. First, you thread it in as far as you can on one side or the other. Makes no difference. You want to thread it in as far as you can. By hand, naturally. You don't want to make it a chore. I mean, if you got to bring a little pipe wrench, fine. But thread it in as far as you can, comfortably. Then put the other side on. And then you have to back it off. And on-thread it to that, from that side as it threads into this side. So now this side will be half threaded. That side will be half threaded. Now when I say half threaded, it doesn't necessarily mean half the thread. You know, but because this here is in here probably about 3/8 of an inch. You know, enough to hold it. I had him thread these about 1.5 inches just in case I wanted to do anything else with it. So if I unthread this by hand, oh, these are rusty and I'm using one hand here, so let me shake this a little bit. Okay, just comes right off. Put it back on and I can thread it back in. But as I'm threading it in, it's on threading from the other side. That's why you want to make sure that you put it in that side enough. So you want to make sure you keep these clean so you can do it easily by hand if you have to. Now again, those aren't clean, so now that I have it in here, I'm going to clean it and put it back outside so it can get messy again. So, but that's an easy way. You know, I put a couple T's on the bottom just in case I want to put another piece across the bottom to hold it more stable, but I didn't see any need for that, so it works just fine for me. You can cut these any size you want. You know, just remember, the higher you go, the farther the spread is going to have to be on the piping. You know, because you want to make sure that you have enough rear advantages so that it doesn't tip over. Now, I may not have needed this to go out quite this far in the front. It could have gone down more, which would have been a little shorter. However, it was a lot easier to measure just to have all even numbers. All these pipes are all the same size. So if I took it all apart, put it back together, each time, I wouldn't have to worry about what pipe goes where, because they're all the same size. So, but anyway, there's another quick and easy way of doing something. You really don't need anything. Just go to the Home Depot, Lowe's, or whatever. Buy yourself some galvanized or whatever pipe you think, black pipe, whatever, and a couple of fittings and screw it together. Away you go. They'll cut it and thread it for you. So, anyway, that's that. I didn't mean to take up more room on targets, but I figure I'll show you another easy way of doing it without going totally nuts, and you don't need any tools, basically. So, alright guys,